Hello, and welcome to Empowered, the podcast. My name is Linda, and I am your host. I am an empowerment coach, a spirit junkie, a realtor, a proud mom, and a dog mom. I'm also an animal advocate, a child advocate, and someone that overcame a lot of challenges and trauma in my life. This podcast is packed with powerful content, inspiring conversations with amazing guests who will help you heal, grow, and evolve into a better version of you so you can attract in your best and most empowered life. I don't know about you, but I'm not here for mediocrity. I'm here for an abundant, blessed life. Life does not have to be so hard. That is an old program. We can do less and attract more, and I know this to be true. I love bringing you this powerful information. I hope you enjoy, learn, and grow. Have a beautiful day. Hello, and welcome back to Empowered, the podcast. My name is Linda, and I am your host. I am an empowerment coach, a spirit junkie, a realtor, a proud mom, and a dog mom. This podcast is packed with powerful, inspiring content from amazing guests who will help you heal, grow, and evolve into a better version of you so you can live your most abundant, blessed life. I don't know about you, but I'm not here for mediocrity. I'm here for a big, abundant, empowered life. And life doesn't have to be so hard. That is an old program. We can do less and attract more, and I know this to be true. I love bringing you this powerful information. I hope you enjoy, learn, and grow, and share with a friend. Have a beautiful day, and thanks for listening. Hello, and welcome back to Empowered, the podcast. I'm your host, Linda Brand, and I'm super excited for today's guest. She is such a bright light, so high vibe. I love this woman so much. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person in Florida at a retreat. She is a trauma-informed breathwork facilitator and founder of Brilliant Breathwork, her membership, which is a coaching community where she shows people how to untether from past experiences and reprogram the mind and body and unleash the brilliance within, which I absolutely need the reprogramming I've been doing for a very long time. And she is the host of Untethered with Jen Liss, her podcast. I'm super excited to share this conversation with you today. And yeah, let's dive in. Hey, Jen, thank you for being here. It's so great to see you again.
Hello. It's so great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Oh my goodness. Tell us, I know you have this background of you were a hairstylist at one time, you were in corporate at one time. I'd love to know how you got into the breath work and this entrepreneurship, and I'd love to hear that. And then, of course, tell us all how we can all benefit from this breathing and this healing modality that you facilitate.
Yeah, such a great question. Yeah, I have had the life smorgasbord when it comes to work, like the sampler platter of everything, which is kind of me. I really like a lot of things. I like trying new things. And so my career path, my career journey definitely reflects that. What I like to think of now is that when I was a hairstylist, I used to help people feel beautiful on the outside. And with breathwork, I help people connect to the beauty that they already have inside of them. So, there's so many parallels actually between being a hairstylist and being a breathwork facilitator. It's service and it's helping people connect. There's actually a deep conversation. What I'm helping to facilitate now are deep inner conversations. And then we still get to have those conversations. I missed that. So yeah, I was a hairstylist for 12 years, had my own business, 6-figure income, really doing well. And I up and left it, decided to go get my degree and go into corporate America. Really didn't fully understand why. In hindsight, there's, a million signs that I was burning myself out. I didn't know how to grow. I had lots of urges to do things, but was scared, and so I ended up going into this corporate world, which I'm so glad that I did because I gained so many communication skills. I worked in marketing, and then I moved into learning and development, and then employee experience, and then corporate executive comms. So lots of communication along the way, which is supporting me now that I've moved back into entrepreneurship. But in that corporate journey, I found myself in the same place that I was in with hair, where I was working really, really, really hard. And I was working really, really, really hard to please a lot of people in hindsight. And I was just like, I couldn't figure out how to grow from there. Like I got to this point where I'm like, I'm not satisfied. How can I grow to where I will be?
Yeah, but you weren't happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't happy.
Yeah, I remember listening to one of your interviews where you were doing hair and you were saying to your inner self, like, oh my God, please don't let her choose something different. Like, don't let your client choose something different. And that's how you knew that you needed to switch gears and do something different. I loved that. I loved that story.
Yeah. Yes. It was somebody who I loved. I loved this human being. And I always she wanted creative things. And it was so fun doing her hair. And that day I did not want her to do anything different. I'm like, for God's sakes, don't make my job hard today. And I was like, ooh, something's wrong when that's what I'm thinking. And I think that's a sign for any of us when we're in a job and we start to have those kinds of thoughts. We're not having any fun anymore. But it's a nudge to grow. It's a nudge to try something new. It's a nudge to lean back into your fun. I didn't know that then, and I do know that now. And I think that's such an empowering thought. Yeah. It's such an empowering awareness.
I love that. Yeah. Your inner guide and intuition, which I have a very strong one as well. But I love the atmosphere of beauty. And I always think that those people are always so happy doing their purpose, doing their, they love their job. And I love beauty. I never went into that, but the deep conversations for sure. I love the stylist that listens to you and all that. So it's so interesting. I would have never thought of that. There are similarities to the breathing. Tell us a little bit about that, the facilitating the breath work. How does it work? So you're also a one-on-one coach and you have the membership, right?
Yeah, I do group coaching more than I do one-on-one coaching, but yes, I do coach. Really, I have a huge drive. I mean, I myself was an entrepreneur. I went into corporate. I felt that draw back to entrepreneurship, and a huge part of it, Linda, was missing those deep, real conversations with human beings, because there's a facade, unfortunately, that people feel like they have to hold up in corporate America. And that's just part of the culture that I think is slowly being undone, but it's not being undone fast enough for me to feel satisfied in that environment. And breathwork allows us to do that. So your question was, how does it work in terms of getting somebody to that point of, I'll give a very brief, what breathwork is for people who don't know what it is. Breathwork helps people to connect with their bodies, to connect with their emotions, to connect with that which I believe they truly are, which is this brilliant, beautiful, sparkly, light, unicorn, magical being. In essence, that's what we all are. But we have become tethered. We have all these stories and beliefs and all of the things from our families and all of those really painful experiences that we had that we're carrying. And through breath work, through our breathing, through mindful, meditative breath work and connection, we can come back home and actually feel that being that we are, get underneath all of the tethers and come back to what we are. That allows us to remove those things, to let go of those things, to shift or change those things into something that's more, that serves us better. Now, the how of that we can get into if you want to, but that's the what and the why.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love all that. I guess one of the questions that came to mind immediately was how long is it individual? How long would it take to get untethered and doing the breathing? And I love that name. It's so powerful. And how did you come up with that? Was it I'd love to know how you came up with the Untethered name. And then also, how long would it take? Is it all individual? It could take someone 6 months. It could take somebody 2 sessions, or you know what I mean? To clear some of this tethering.
Personally, I believe that our journey in this world is to come in as that magical ball of light. Some of us are already tethered when we get here. We might have brought something with us, depending on if you believe in past lives and that kind of thing. We might have brought some things with us. We spend a big chunk of our life gaining more and more of all of these stories and beliefs, and then we have a wake-up call, and then we spend the rest of our life consciously untethering. Some people don't spend any time or spend very little time in that conscious untethering. Some people spend a lot of time. They might have a wake up call in their very young years. A lot of us, it happens in our 40s, 50s, late 30s, somewhere in there that we have that wake up call. And that's when we start untether. So from a very large, big, looking at it, big picture, I think it's a long process. And I think that's beautiful. We learn so many lessons along that journey. Now, when we come to breathwork and what breathwork can do for somebody, you can let go of something via breathwork that you've been holding on to for so freaking long in an instant. Other things take longer. Sometimes it is instantaneous. There's this realization, you see something, you feel something, you emotionally move it through. That emotion that you've been holding for so long about something releases and lets go and processes, and you're free of it. It can happen so fast, but then other things take longer. And it's why I believe in consistent meditation, consistent breath work, making it a practice, consistent yoga, hypnotherapy, whatever the thing is that's supportive to you. These all are doing very similar things. But what breathwork does that's different is the embodiment piece, the feeling, the emotions, the letting ourselves get to that state of feeling safe to witness the emotions. And that's where the huge change happens with breathwork.
So we can learn how to do it ourselves at home, like we do a meditation at home as part of our practice. So we can learn as well. That's awesome. I know there's so many healing things. Currently, I've been diving into the EFT, the tapping, and it's really been helping me clear some stuff, you know, but I like the breathing a lot. And you know what the breathing, because I had a breath guy. I mean, he's not a breath work person, but earlier in my podcast, he's a fruitarian, and he coaches people on breathing and athletes and all these things. And it's different. He doesn't call it breath work. He calls it teaching you proper breathing. And it's just different. It's not exactly what you're doing. But in the middle of the night, when I wake up and I can't sleep, I breathe and it solves it. And I'm back to sleep. It's the deep breathing. Yeah, it's helping a lot for that.
Which is regulating your nervous system. That's what you're doing there, because you're woken up by something and your body is on alert. The mind starts spinning. You go into that sympathetic activation through your breath, particularly nose breathing, and in particular, nose breathing with an extended exhale. Going longer with the nose can deeply support us in activating the parasympathetic, which then helps you relax and go back to sleep. So whether you can also do exhaling through the mouth, but I recommend for people who struggle with going to sleep, that nose breathing with a longer exhale can be really, really supportive.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know that breathing out of the mouth, you're not supposed to, but I tend to do that. I wake up to use the restroom. That's usually why I'm up, and then it's falling back. But I had rhinoplasty, and I have not been able to breathe out of the right side since. Pretty much, it's better a little bit, but anyway, I love what you do, and how you're that untethering, and how it's bringing out creativity. It's just so powerful, and we're limitless beings. That's what else I love, that you switched around in your life. And it sounds like you had an amazing upbringing, by the way. I was listening to something else that you were doing, and you're like, you had great parents and great everything. Not all of us had that. So I love that. And then you also shared about your dad. If you want to talk about any of that, how you're currently breathing with your dad and helping him with his health and connecting. And do you want to share any of that? Or
Yeah. So I did have an amazing upbringing, very close family. I've got 4 siblings and 4 girls, and then my little brother, poor guy. My parents are still together. And as we start to look at these things, we start to notice the ways that we had coping mechanisms to keep ourselves safe, because I am a middle child. And I always felt like an outcast because my 2 oldest had each other and the 2 younger ones had each other. And so so we have these things. It doesn't matter if you had the most amazing upbringing, there are still things that your body did to cope, your mind did to cope. So I had a lot of those, and I've had a very deep healing journey on those things. And part of it was me having masked over all of it and just not even recognizing, and the guilt of feeling like I had the best I had such a great childhood. I had such great parents. What is wrong with me were some of the thoughts that I was having. And I think a lot of people can have these thoughts too. So I just want to call that out and recognize that for the listener who might be feeling that. Like, our minds always do these strategies to support us. But one of the things, like, I'm a peacekeeper, I'm a middle child. I want everybody to be happy. And that was my place. We all sit around the dinner table and everybody's talking. And I'm the one that's like, all right, y'all, let's like get stuff done. I'm trying to like mediate and make things happen and get everybody on the same page. And that is one of the things that kept me tethered, because I wanted my parents to be happy. I wanted my siblings to be happy. And I thought I was the one who had to help support that. I had to keep everybody on the same page. I had to be there. And so I had this like element of everybody has to be happy for me to be happy. And that kept me from moving away from home. Something my husband and I both always wanted to do was to leave Wichita, Kansas. We wanted the experience of living somewhere else. Well, we finally did that in 2021. And that was hard. It was a hard time. Like, we came to Oregon. I come from a very, Kansas, Midwestern mindset. My dad definitely has that mindset for sure. And even though I'm 40 years old, I left the nest, and there was some discomfort there between the two of us. And I am mostly manufactured probably from my end, but it was really uncomfortable. And I kept thinking, I want to call my dad. I want to call my dad. I should call my dad. I need to call my dad, but I was not comfortable calling my dad. And then I'm in this breathwork program and I'm learning to facilitate breathwork. And I all of a sudden get this message from my dad that says, hey, will you do that breathing thing with me that you're learning? And so it was breathwork that ended up actually healing that little rift that I was experiencing between my dad and myself, and was such a gift that he reached out. And we breathe together. We're going to breathe together after this interview today. Actually, I do it once a week with him. And it's one of the highlights of my week for sure, getting to have that experience with him.
Oh, I love that. And then I think I forgot, I did ask earlier, like, how did you find breathing, the breath work? How did it come to you? Or when you were a hairstylist, you were in the corporate, like, how did it happen? I'm curious.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that question back to the surface, because I think it's really important. I was in corporate and I was working this job that it was like everything that I thought I wanted to do. And I was so unhappy, and my husband could feel it. Was just, I was unhappy in that job. Like, and I also had this, I should be happy, that we were talking about with family. I should be happy. I'm making a lot of money, and this is like, it should make me really happy. And it didn't. And I realized this, and I decided that I was going to leave. At the same time that I decided that I was going to leave, I had this incredible experience from a breathwork facilitator. I'm in a coaching program, and I've been coaching because I kind of knew I wanted to go back into entrepreneurship. So I was down this path, mind you, but I had this breathwork experience that was incredible. I felt like I cracked open in a way that I was like, what just happened to me? And then I became obsessed with that individual. Following her, I found out that she trains breathwork facilitators. I left that job and joined this breathwork facilitation program. And that was it. That was like leaving the hair job. It was just like, I know that this is the right thing, and I'm doing it, and I have no idea why.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you had a breakthrough with that, and you're like, this is my calling. Like this. I love that. I love how we find our way. Oh my goodness. What does your husband do? I'm curious, if you don't mind.
Yeah. He's the reason that we ended up in Portland, Oregon, because he just decided, he's always wanted to be in the beer world. He homebrewed for many, many, many years. And he was trying to get into that, vibe in Wichita, Kansas. Well, there's like 4 breweries in Wichita, Kansas. And so the options were really limited. And so we ended up, saying, okay, just apply at a bunch of jobs all across the country and we'll see where it takes us. And it brought us to Portland. So he worked in the beer world for quite a while. He still brews beer, but then he turns it into whiskey. Now he makes whiskey. So he's a distiller.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. That's neat. Okay. Is there anything else? Let's see. What else? So you have the membership, the Brilliant Breathwork. I love that. And how long is that? It's 6 months, I think.
It's a membership. So you can be in Brilliant Breathwork for as long as you want. What I'm passionate about making, it's just like a yoga practice. I go to a yoga studio and I'm a member, and I go as many times a month as I want. And the same is true of breathwork. You can do breathwork with a live facilitator. Over 3 times a week, we offer live breath work. It's me. And then next month, I'm bringing on 3 new facilitators. So it won't just be me who is in there offering breath work. So you can get it when you need it. And then there's also a cache of past recordings on so many topics. And we host lots of different lengths of sessions, 15, 30, an hour. So we do these 15-minute power boosts that are really, really powerful for getting you in the flow. And it's really fun. It follows my coaching process, which is release, align, and shine. So letting go of the tethers, aligning to who you truly are, and then stepping in with confidence.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I love that. Who doesn't want more confidence, or, to release these old stories and old programs that were all like, that happened from 0 to 7, or like you said, even while you were in the womb or before you even arrived here. I mean, it's like the energies, I think we take on from, whoever cared for us, or our parents, and the experiences in our lives. And now we have these stories, and that's like the whole thing. We're walking around as limitless, beautiful souls, but we have these programs, I like to call it a program. And, I have transformed my life multiple times, and I'm still elevating. And, I'm not the same person I was when I met you at the retreat. I'm not the same person I was 2 weeks ago, thank you. And it's just incredible. And I love all these healing modalities, and the breathing sounds, oh my gosh, it's so, and it's free, to breathe, it's free, but we don't realize the power.
There's so much power in your breath. And if we can, just to support your listeners who might be going through this process, and this might answer some of your questions too. Like, I myself have been in so many coaching programs. I've been coaching, and it has supported me deeply. What I have learned is that for certain people, such as myself, those of us who have turned off our emotions, who have felt like it's unsafe to feel, we've got to feel to heal, I learned. And breathwork is the most powerful way. I'm so passionate about combining embodiment with your mindset journey that you are doing. The two of those things together, I hear it from my clients time and time again. The clients, my coaching clients who show up to the breathwork, I have never seen people just accelerate at the rate that they do, because it is coming home to those emotions. Those patterns are between our head, our heart, and our gut. Our entire body is talking to each other all the time through our nervous system. And if we're only working with the thoughts, we're only working with the beliefs, we are missing patterns that are actually formed in your body that are keeping you safe, because you can change the thought, but if you're not willing to feel the after effects of that thought and process those, then your body will never believe it. Your mind will never believe it, because they're talking to each other. So if you have a thought and your body's like, that's not true. And the mind's like, oh, that's not true. And so it's just reaffirming. So what breathwork does, and other embodiment practices too, whatever the embodiment practice is of your choice, what breathwork does is to help you safely come in and witness the emotions and tell your body, it is safe for me to feel and think something different. And then to reaffirm that, and doing that time and time again is really, really powerful in shifting you out of a previous belief and into a new belief.
I love this. How much is your monthly membership?
It's $111 a month. And that gives you access to all previous recordings. It gives access to a community of Q&A, and then all of the live breath work. And that's going to be more and more over time as I bring on more facilitators. I started this membership back in November the way that I wanted, because there are a lot of apps out there offering meditative breath work. And there's some really, really good ones out there. And a lot of people like to consume their content that way, but they're pre-recorded and they weren't done live. And I'm a believer in energy. And I think live sessions have a specific energy attached to it. And even if you're listening to it on replay, the knowing that there's a facilitator holding you and that energy of that facilitator having actually held human beings, it's different. And that's what I loved in the breath work that I have received, is that being held by a facilitator is really, really powerful. So that's what makes this different than some of the other things that might be out there, is that it's a lot of live facilitation. Even if you're watching it on replay, it was done live.
That's great. So, and it's like month to month, or
yes. Monthly.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So when you talk about, well, I know that everything's connected. So I love that you brought that up about, you can change your thoughts and you can work on your mindset. But if you're not doing all the other things, you're, missing things. And I have been feeling a lot and healing that way and doing different things. But I want to know about the, where you're untethering from the past experience reprogram. Like, is that part of that community, or is that a different coaching that you're doing?
That happens with breathwork. That entire process can happen in a single breathwork session, because the patterns in our body, those patterns between your mind, your body, your heart, your mind, your gut, your heart, those patterns are there to keep you safe in some way. What we do with breathwork is we go in and we witness those patterns. We witness the felt sense. Maybe it's a little like, what is that little tinge in my gut? We go in with conscious awareness and we feel it and we ask it a question and it has an answer and we speak with it, and then we can release it. And so things are being released like magic. Those things, those patterns in our body, most of the time, especially when you're feeling an emotional twinge or a little sensation or a tightening, like a tightening of the gut, these things are happening. They're like toddlers. They're like, Mom, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And when you look at them, they release. And so that's what we're doing. That's actually simple conscious awareness is one of the most powerful things that we can do to support ourselves in untethering.
So are you healing people's physical ailments too?
It can. I can't claim that. I'm not a medical professional.
But I'm saying, I mean, if you believe that unresolved trauma manifests in the body, this would then help with that. I'm just saying, because I think that a lot of people do have unresolved trauma that manifests in the body. And so I feel like it could definitely help with that. I
personally do believe that and have experienced that for myself. And I facilitate with that in mind. Everything I do is through a trauma-informed lens, and my knowing and my belief that that is true. And so that's also why I personally love a membership, because we want to titrate. We don't want to go in it. It feels really cool and really neat to have that experience where your mind is completely blown and you're crying and you're sobbing and everything is like, and that can be safe and that can be okay. That can also re-traumatize. That's not always the safest way for us to let go of something. Sometimes it happens in little sips, what we call titration, like little sips. And so doing a regular practice can help you to do that in a much healthier and long-lasting way.
Okay. And I have this other question that comes to mind. Like, I was invited to this ocean front. I went to it and I didn't have a good experience with a breathing person and a group of people that I didn't know, strangers. And I thought, oh, this sounds really great, but it wasn't. And I also experienced your breathing thing in the retreat, which was powerful and I enjoyed. But my question is, in your membership, you have advanced people and then the brand new person that maybe hasn't been doing it. Like, does it matter or any of that? Like, that was just a question that came to mind. Like, because I think they warned us before that event, the ocean one, where, something like you could have an anxiety attack. I don't know. They like gave us something. And I think that was in my head too. So I was like nervous while I'm doing the breathing. exercises. But my question is to you, like in your membership, like you probably have people who've been there for months and then you have the brand new person. Like how does it?
Yeah, that's thank you for asking this question too. Did you feel safe at that breathwork event?
I didn't really feel safe because I didn't know anybody. And this was like over a year ago and I was newer to Florida and I was just, I didn't feel safe.
Yeah. Without safety, there is no transformation. Transformation cannot happen without safety. We cannot let go of anything without safety. Your nervous system is locked down tight in the sympathetic. You are holding on. We cannot relax. We cannot let go without safety. That is the number one tenet of brilliant breathwork, of anything that I do, is safety. Everything has to be grounded in safety. And when we feel safe to simply have our experience. So to answer your question about beginners or advanced, it doesn't matter because your experience is your experience. And when we start doing embodiment work, like everything's weird. It's also weird. So we're all just here to have this weird experience and to let it be and to let whatever wants to process. That's all we're here to do as human beings in a breathwork session. So it doesn't matter if you're advanced or if you've never done it before, you get to have your experience. And as long as it's grounded in safety, something cool can happen for you, or you'll just simply get to relax. Either way, it's going to be a magical experience for you if you feel safe to go in.
And how long are the sessions in the membership, the live ones?
15, 30, and an hour. So we do a variety. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I like that. That's amazing. Yeah. Because there's so many things, there's yoga, meditation, and this EFT. And I've found that EFT it helps me. And so I'm certain this could help me as well. And I'm definitely up for trying.
I'm into EFT as well. I'll tap all the time during an interview. If I find my mind wandering, I tap. I'm also, I'm currently certifying. I've done the program before, but to become a positive intelligence coach, I use those techniques all the time. It's, pressing your fingertips together, pressing one finger after another, bringing ourselves into conscious awareness. We can do these things on Zoom calls. You can take a breath on a Zoom call. You can combine the two together. Do what I tell a lot of my clients is combine tapping and breathing together. Take a nice big inhale and a nice long exhale and tap on. Nobody can notice hardly. If you do that karate chop point or in the center of your palm, tapping there while taking a nice long exhale is so powerful. Just doing that, or even tapping one thigh, crossing your hands like a little, like a butterfly, tapping front hand to hand on your thighs while taking a nice big breath. If you're on a Zoom call, that is a really powerful way to ground yourself back in.
Yeah, I'd like to just to tell the people who perhaps are listening and don't know what we're talking about. It's called Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT. And it's kind of just tapping on the meridian points as if it's acupuncture, but it's not. And it tends to move energy and release because we are all energetic beings. We're all energetic beings having, spiritual energetic beings having a human experience. And my next question was, who are your, since we're both in the coaching communities and we're both in self-development and we both love this stuff like healing, and who are your, biggest mentors or favorite books, or, just curious on that. I know you had a fabulous Tracy Litt on your podcast. I love this woman so much. I wanted to go to her thing on the other, in Florida, but I couldn't make it happen. But oh my gosh, I love her. So tell me, who are your favorite mentors or books that you might recommend, or who's had an influence on you?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many people who have had an influence on me along the way. Right now, I'm really digging into Eckhart Tolle and reading a lot of his stuff. And I know that he has influenced a lot of my own personal mentors. So Samantha Skelly is my breathwork mentor. I deeply resonate with her and her messaging and her message of empowerment. Tracy Litt, she's a powerhouse, which I think is funny. That's the word that comes to mind. And she uses that word in some of her programs. Kathy Heller, of course, she's who connected the two of us. And I mean, currently I'm reading a lot of different books from a lot of different people. I'm one of those people who starts like 16 self-development books and I just pick up whichever one is in the room I'm in.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Are you into Gala Darling? Do you ever
No, that's a new one. Fun.
okay, because she's the tapping queen and she's awesome. And I love your hair, by the way. And she's got the pink or different color hair. She's awesome. I love her, Gala Darling. Yeah, you gotta check her out.
I'll check her out. Thanks.
EFT queen. And she taps and yeah. But that's awesome. Was there anyone else that kind of interrupted you about that? I was asking.
Yeah, I was thinking about Peter Crone. He's somebody I've been listening to a lot. He's got such deep wisdom. And then Corey Musakara is one who I follow. He was once a monk, and he also has a lot of wisdom. He speaks a lot about stillness and our own discomfort with stillness.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And yeah, so that's his main topic and some of the things that can come up for us when we allow ourselves to get still.
How do you spell his last name?
Musicara. I believe it's Musakara. It could be Musakara. I could be pronouncing it incorrectly, but you can sign up to get text messages from him, which is pretty neat. And it's just a little message, usually each day. It's of course one of his marketing strategies, which is a really smart one, but I really like getting them. So if anybody's into just like a quote a day or a little reminder a day, I think he's really powerful.
That's awesome. I know that I used to have sitting still, was just really difficult. And the stuff that comes to me now when I'm quiet is just incredible. I don't know how people do it, like having a house full of people now that I'm, an empty nester and I have the dog. And I'm like, I have so much peace around me that I'm able to listen and hear and be still. And I love that. And I used to have a hard time, and all you have to do is start by there's no wrong way to meditate or sit still, and, it can be 5 minutes. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I just can't, it's like, you don't have to turn off your mind. You don't have to, there's no wrong way to meditate. I was reading Kathy's recommendation, Wherever You Go, There You Are. Did you have that book? Mm-hmm. Where There You Are. Yeah, that book. And he talks about it. It's like, it's so incredible how it's almost. And Gabby, do you follow Gabby Bernstein? Probably, mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. I just finished her 21-day challenge. Like, she's my very favorite, her and Kathy Heller, but and Gina DeBee, but Gabby's been a huge positive influence in my life. Yeah. Because she's so authentic and vulnerable and honest. And I love that and she'll say, my vulnerability is my superpower. And I feel similar, this is who I am. I'm not perfect. I'm bringing you along for the journey. But anyway, this has been amazing. And I love what you're doing. So is there anything else you want to share?
Thank you. I mean, just thank you for this. And I agree that vulnerability is so powerful, and it's also difficult. It's a challenge. There's a reason that we tend to protect ourselves from being vulnerable. But if you can put yourself in spaces that help you to feel safe, you'll start to feel safe to be vulnerable outwardly. So we can't always just say, I'm going to be more vulnerable, because your body is going to have a lot to say about how that feels when you go and do it. And we can accidentally re-traumatize things, re-trigger things. So find safe spaces where you feel like you can be vulnerable, and that will start to ripple outward into your own life without you even having to consciously say, I'm going to go be vulnerable. You'll simply start being more vulnerable. And it's a journey for all of us. Totally believe also that your most challenging thing ends up being your superpower, because it's the thing that you work the most at. So you get really good at it.
I love that you brought that up, because I do have a membership I just started for 18 to 30-year-olds that is a safe space for them to share and be their authentic selves and not be judged, and to have radical love. And they can come and sit and they can turn their camera up, be silent, listen, whatever. But I am so excited for that. It's called Empower You, like the letter U. And I feel like it's needed, young adults that are, there's just a lot going on right now, and young people need support. So I'm super excited for that. So that's beautiful. I had to bring it up when you mentioned the safe space, finding a safe space, because it's true. We all tend to have a default of worrying what other people think or being judged or trying to please everybody. And it's just, once you're on the journey of being authentic and loving yourself how you are, accepting yourself how you are, it gets easier to show up as, authentic and all that, right?
It does. Yes. That's beautiful that you've created that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love this. So tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes, you can connect with me. I'm Untethered Jen on Instagram. You can follow the podcast Untethered with Jen Liss. If anything made you curious about breathwork, you can go to jenliss.com/join and check out Brilliant Breathwork.
So good. Thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. I love talking to you. I love your energy. And I might check out this membership. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would love to have you. If any of your listeners want to join and get a GuestPass, they can reach out to me on Instagram at Untethered Jen and write GuestPass, and I will offer you 2 weeks free into Brilliant Breathwork, and to you too, Linda, if you want to come try it out.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Give it a whirl with us.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. That was incredible. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're so welcome.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Empowered the Podcast. It means so much to me that you are here, that you're listening. I hope you learned something. I hope you found value. If you enjoyed it, please share with someone you think would benefit from it. If you'd like to connect with me, feel free to contact me on Instagram at Linda Brand Coach or Linda Brand Homes. You can also find me on Facebook. I would love to hear from you. Send me a message. Also, I'm happy to do a free discovery call if you're looking for a coach. I would love that. Also, if you could leave a rating and review, I would love that. It would help me so much to grow this audience and help as many people as I can. Have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day and live empowered. Thank you.